What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
And we're back, One Piece 1064, and I'm shook. I am notoriously one of the most prolific heart pirates slanderers, law excluded. But I mean, I have always maintained that his crew is a bunch of fodder that have never done anything. And up until this moment, that's true. And technically, still to this moment, we now have 2 Heart Pirate members that have done something. The one that I've always amped up, which is Jean Bart. And surprisingly most of all, Shachi. That was not penguin in the water. That was Shachi, which means orca. Law's really got a bunch of water Pokemon on his crew. Which, I mean, is that so surprising? Water is literally in his name. But this man just yelled, Penguin, Shachi, go, use Water Beam, use Bubble. When I was doing the stream, I think I stopped for about 10 minutes. I was just like, wait, hold on. Is Shachi doing something? Shachi is doing something? I couldn't believe it. Doc Q drops a bunch of apple bombs. Shachi wastes no time, saves his crew by using Water Beam and, and blowing up all of these apples in the sky.
I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game and you know how you travel.
Oh man, you're a casual.
Look, here's the thing. I love this fight. Really, I do. There was a lot to process and take it in, but I mean, like, this is one of the most interesting fights that we've had in the entire series. And why is that? Because it's not involving any of the crew. That's when it really gets interesting. You know, it's like the same feeling as Smoker versus Virgo. Why are we spending time on this when this is a story about the Straw Hats? Now, I don't mean to say that in a sense of like, that wasn't good or that was my feeling at the time. It's just structurally, you're just like, this is so different. This is so fresh. But, as always, we will continue the Beppo slander. Beppo is supposed to be the second in command and has still done nothing. People are saying, well, he used observation hockey to tell Jean Bart to protect Law. No, he just shouted at Jean Bart to do what he couldn't do. And then Jean Bart goes and tanks some bullets from Van Augur, or at least that's the implication there. So, Jean Bart. That's my guy. Always been my guy. Even when I clowned all of the other Heart Pirates, I never clowned Jean Bart. Shachi, yes. Congratulations, I played myself. But where was that in Wano? Oh, but there was no water. At the tail end, when Raizo sent all of that water through Onigashima, I mean, where were Penguin and Shachi then? They should have been hooping. Look at me being a hater. But seriously, with Beppo, the color spread for chapter 1031 with all of the first Yonko commanders, all of the second in commands, you have Beppo behind Zoro, and he is doing the Michael Jackson Thriller lean. He's doing the Teddy Pendergrass. He's doing the Luther Vandross. All right, you need to earn that, my guy. Yeah, I just, no. Now, some people want to see Beppo go Sulong. But if Beppo is proficient in Sulong, then where was that in Wano? And actually, the timeline may work out for a full moon here. Because after Wano, we did spend a couple of weeks letting everybody recover. And then after that, it's, you know, been a little bit with the crew heading to Egghead. So maybe there's another full moon, but I'm also still skeptical that we've had an exact full month here. But either way, if Beppo goes Sulong, it is going to be a monster chopper in Enies Lobby situation. This man is not going to know how to control it, just like Peckham's. This was set up in Whole Cake Island. Peckham's needed Pedro to like calm him down. He wasn't trained in Sulong in the same way that like Carrot was or some of the other minks. And Beppo did not spend a lot of time on Zoe. So I don't think he has the proper training for Sulong. We'll see what happens. But Law was putting numbers up, doing it big against Sayanko. Shout out to him. All right, let's get into everything. But first, like, comment, subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. We're getting real close to 30K here. All right, and not this Monday, but next Monday's my birthday. Can we make it before then? I don't know. Let's find out. Pudding is officially confirmed to be captured by the Blackbeard pirates, and it all timed out perfectly with the cover story and this particular chapter. Now, we knew this with the last chapter, but it's actually, shown to us, it's written out. Everything was still speculation. Is this ice? Is this Shinokuni? Everything was leading us to believe that, yes, this was Kuzan. Now, I took an L because I said that the person that was with Kuzan was Lafitte, which makes the most sense. But Lafitte is still going to be instrumental here. Shout out to Jonathan RK, where Lafitte, as a hypnotist, is going to be able to hypnotize Pudding into unlocking her third eye. That makes so much sense to me. And that's what's going to happen. Blackbeard is going to get these rubbings from Law, and he's probably going to imprison Law and some of the Heart Pirates, or, something along those lines. I want to see Law and Pudding interact, because that's going to be a spicy conversation. Law is potentially responsible for the probable death of Big Mom. But even then, it's still up in the air. And one of the reasons why it's up in the air, particularly, is Pudding's skepticism about Big Mom being dead and it being in bold, which is almost Oda saying, I don't think we've seen the last of Big Mom. And what were Big Mom's last words? Essentially, you haven't seen the last of me. So I think we might get Big Mom back. I don't know if we're going to see Kaido again, but I think we'll get Big Mom. And with that, we can wrap up the whole Big Mom memory plot, hopefully utilizing Pudding's fruit. Because Pudding's fruit realistically should be used. I don't think it's ever been effectively used in a narrative sense to even have it have any sort of meaning in the story for it to exist. Whereas if Pudding does play with the memories of her mother that are already jumbled and, all over the place because of what PTSD from the birthday, then it all ties together. I really want that. Kobe is likely with Aokiji, and I really want to have some spicy sword conversations with that, and I'd like to see Law and Kobe connect. I was hoping that we would have some sort of thing with that. First of all, I wasn't even expecting to get any Law and Blackbeard stuff in this chapter. Thought Oda was going to do what he traditionally does and wait, an entire year before we see any of this. But Oda's kicking up the gears. Is Kobe at Egghead with Aokiji and maybe some of the other Blackbeard pirates, and then we're going to bring Pudding there? Is Moria also captured, and will we have some sort of almost impelled down vibes situation where Law is the Luffy of this impelled down 2.0, where he assembles, a mishmash crew of Kobe, Pudding, Moria, and whoever knows who else. That would be fun. I'm actually really excited for something like that. Switching gears, we have Bonnie has helped everybody escape Robopops by changing their age. Fun little gag, we get young Jinbei, we get old Chopper, and old Luffy. Luffy's in his 70s. Who's also in his 70s? Garp. Why doesn't Luffy look like a Chad? I don't know. We get a lightsaber and a lot of really fun, just sci-fi stuff, which of course I eat up, including even later on we get the equivalent of the self-lacing Nikes from Back to the Future, right? The shoes are one size fits all and they all just kind of close in on everything. More on that later. The Kuma business. Okay, we get some confirmations here. Now, we had little drips and drabs across the story as far as a mishmash of what we could assume Kuma's backstory was, right? We knew that he was the king of Sorbet. We knew that he was considered a tyrant, and we know that he was a Revolutionary Army member. This is all stuff that is essentially regurgitated to us for everybody to remember all of this and put in a helpful timeline. The new information here is that Kuma was forced out by the people of Sorbet, which I think is actually Kuma making his own decision after propaganda from the world government pushed him out, and then he left on his own accord because a country is its people. I still believe that there may be a tie to Kuma embodied to the 20 Kings, but we also get full confirmation that Kuma hates the world government. This is coming from his daughter. Now, by being a Revolutionary Army member, we would expect this, yes, but it just ties into everything seeming like some sort of an inside job where everything that happened with Vegapunk and Kuma was part of some sort of grander plan, which always seemed to be the case, considering that Kuma helped the Straw Hats. And now we also see, later on, jumping ahead, but this all ties into the same thing, that Vegapunk has an established relationship with Dragon, which has been speculated for years, because why else would any of Kuma's motives make sense if Vegapunk wasn't a member of the Revolutionary Army, or at least had some sort of a connection to Dragon? Why would Vegapunk let Kuma protect the Sunny, the ship of Dragon's son, for 2 years? Unless Vegapunk had some sort of a pre-existing relationship with Dragon and Kuma. So it's all tying in here and it all makes sense. And I got to that part of the chapter and I think people probably expected a bigger reaction from me. And it was just like, I got to the thing, oh, he's talking to Dragon. And it's just like, duh. Like, this is all stuff that would have been crazy 10 years ago. But we've had so many conversations about this over, since Sabaody, since Return to Sabaody, that this is just what is to be expected. Now, I'm loving the way that it is being presented, and I'm loving the way that, we are finally tying everything in, and we may actually have the Revolutionary Army or Dragon in this arc, or it is at least setting up and leading us to that eventual fated reunion between Luffy and Dragon, or at least maybe even the first meeting. Ultimately, this theme of fathers in One Piece, and we talked about this in the stream a little bit, is I didn't raise you because I had to do something for the greater good. And this theme is also what spans the sword theory, that Garp is the leader of sword, and why he didn't step in to stop or to basically save Ace during Marineford, because it's all about the greater good. I can't save Ace here because it'll blow my cover and everything that I'm working towards on dismantling the world government. The bigger picture is bigger than the tiny picture. So Dragon essentially, will have to have a conversation with Luffy that is essentially like, I wanted to raise you, but we wouldn't be at the precipice of taking down the world government together here if I didn't leave and, do everything with the Revolutionary Army to make sure that other things didn't happen over the years. So that's kind of where everything falls into. It's this gray area. And Oda loves playing in that gray area, and I love it too. At this point, I am getting the impression that at some point it'll probably be possible to have Kuma regain his memories. Considering that we have this hive mind and split up of these Vegapunks, there's a very large possibility that Kuma's consciousness was downloaded as well, and it just needs to be reinstalled at some point. And maybe it won't go into the original Kuma. Maybe it'll be one of the clones. Maybe it'll be the Seraphim Kuma. Maybe parts of Kuma are spread across all of the Kumas that are out there, and then it all just sort of needs to go together. But maybe this was all a bigger plan to get little Kumas, or not necessarily little Kumas, but Kuma clones inside every facet of the world government. I mean, there are Kuma clones that are at Marijoa right now, that are at Marineford. Vegapunk and Dragon could essentially Order 66 and just set all of these Kumas off and have them turn against everything. Could that have been part of what happened at the Reverie? Is that also maybe part of why Cypher Pole is on their way to take out Vegapunk right now? Because the world government or EMU or the Gorosei now have finally put together the ties between Vegapunk and the Revolutionary Army. There's a lot of possibilities here. Vegapunk is expecting his death because he probably knows that they know something. At the end of the chapter, we get a bunch of Skypiea vibes, obviously because we've got the pyro blowing, we have the sea clouds and everything, and we know that this is made from volcanoes. This is stuff that was told to us by Pagaya all the way back in Skypiea itself. And this also made its way back around when Wano erupted. Everybody started talking about pyro blowing again. Is there going to be a new Sky Island because of all of this? Maybe. But to have pyro blowing also come back so soon is very interesting to me, just with it having been on the tips of a lot of people's tongues in just recent months. I love the new look that we got of Egghead. This island is awesome. Punk Records gives me Kid vibes. Will we see Kid this arc? I'm kind of hoping so. In addition to seeing a NES controller 2 chapters ago, we now see what looks to be like a Game Boy Advance. I thought maybe we'd get an N64 controller for Chapter 1064, but Oda didn't want to go that on the nose. Lilith makes everybody go through the drip machine, but unfortunately this machine was broken. The one that Luffy and the gang went through certified everybody. But this one, other than maybe Frankie, which is kind of weird to see Frankie with pants, I don't know if I can certify all of these. Usopp is maybe the most certifiable, but I don't know what's going on with that one pant leg that is like half short, half pants. This is weird. Nami and Robin are basically not wearing clothes, but you know, they're saying, oh, they look so tough. They look so tough. They're not wearing anything. Robin and Nami need to switch with Frankie. And why is Oda putting Sanji in shorts?
Look at all them hot pants.
Hey, who likes short shorts? We like short shorts!
I'm not here for this. I'm not here for this. This is literally top 3 worst drips for Sanji ever. I'm really hoping that they go through another drip machine at some point, or they just switch back into some other clothes. This cannot be the final arc fits here. Please. How do we go from wine drip to no drip? Does that Hawaiian shirt have a hood on it? Do you understand how blasphemous that is?
What are those?
I do love the Cyclops visors on Frankie, though. I'm a fan. And he also has like a wind-up toy, you know, attachment on his head. That's cool, too. Zoro and Brook decide to hang back on the Sunny, which means that there's going to be a plot point with Zoro and Brook. Now, the last time that we really saw Zoro and Brook hanging out was basically at the end of Thriller Bark, which was a Kuma-focused moment there, where they were talking about, you know, Ryuma's basically makeshift grave at that point. Now, there have been other Zoro and Brook moments, but that was the last time I felt like those two had any, like, real meaning, other than Brook being a bro and, you know, making sure Zoro had all of his swords and, you know, the archipelago and things like that. But this is a good opportunity for Zoro to open up about the vision that he saw, or whatever the Grim Reaper was that looked like Brook in the first place. Brook has seen the afterworld, the afterlife. He's seen the other side. So now Zoro may have someone to actually talk to about all of this, or rather Brook will have someone to talk to about this. But there are other factions that are coming to Wano. Cypher Pole, the Marines, I'm expecting Smoker. I'm dying on that hill. Smoker is going to be in this arc. Will Zoro and Brook be the people that have to face them? It was brought up during the stream that Zoro's introduction to Kaku was on the Mary, because Kaku went to in Water 7 to go check out the Mary and see what needed to be repaired. And that was one of the last times that Zoro decided to hang back and watch the ship. So will there be a reunion between Zoro and Kaku on the Sunny? I don't know if Oda's going to be that on the nose. Yeah, I went there. But it's possible. What would be more fun is like Zoro versus Smoker real quick. You know, whoever else is on there. What's most likely is we get another Vegapunk that appears. and Zoro and Brook have to deal with that. Ultimately, we need a third situation here where someone from these groups runs into another Vegapunk that addresses themselves as Dr. Vegapunk and creates that confusion, right? Because Lilith and Atlas have already basically established themselves as Dr. Vegapunk to each respective group other than Bonnie, who's already skeptical about everything. If Edison or Pythagoras show up to either of these groups and then address themselves as Dr. Vegapunk, then that creates a interesting conversation. That's the kind of thing that I'm expecting in 1065. We're gonna have that conversation. Basically, we either focus in on that or we focus in on some other stuff outside. I can't imagine that Oda is going to give us like 3 chapters back to back of Law versus Blackbeard, but that would be peak fiction, and please, Oda, do it. Make me eat my words about Beppo. Do it. I'm waiting. I'm still gonna say, why didn't he, show out on Wano though? But I need this. Give me more. Either way, things are seriously heating up this arc, and I couldn't be more excited to see where everything goes. As always, each week with you guys, we are on a break for this week. 1065 will be out in 2 weeks' time. We'll do the stream then at our normal time of 12:15 p.m. EST on Friday. Hunter x Hunter is back. I'm going to do weekly streams along with the official release for Hunter x Hunter. I don't think that I'm going to do analysis, but I'm going to find a time that works for all of that, and we'll figure that out. There's been a lot of people that have been suggesting that. We're going to check the temperature. We're going to see how it goes. I don't know if I'm going to do analysis videos on Hunter x Hunter, but we'll at least stream and, hang out for that, and I'll move the streams to the second channel. Next week, we're going to do a theory for theory. Stay tuned for the community posts and everything like that for the time, right? Because that's also going to be dependent on the guest. So that may fluctuate or change. So just keep an eye out for that on the Discord and in the community posts, etc., or even maybe on Twitter. Shout out to everybody that supports the channel. Thank you to Emmanuel Blue, Amrit Singh, and Container Productions for rejoining the channel. And a big shout out to everybody that has just been a member for a long time. I shout out everybody that rejoins, but one of these days I need to go out and just shout out everybody that's been a member for like over a year, and I'm gonna do that soon. But I'm just gonna, just blanket statement, thank everybody. We're probably even getting close to 2 years now for some things. We haven't had memberships open for 2 years, but we've got members that have been around for, like 17 months now. So shout out to you guys. I love our community, and I love hanging out with you guys. It's awesome. And we're going to do it again real soon. Okay, so like, comment, subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. Catch you guys later. Bye.
I've been swimming deep, savage.